What's up, everyone? It's kind of it's 4:03, close enough, which means it's time for the Clone Zone. We also just barely made it at 4:03, but Molly had to get her headband on. I forgot too. HoloNet Marauders sent us these, and we were talking about putting them on, and Molly remembered at the last second.
Last second, I was like, I spent so much time fiddling with my bangs, and then I was like, oh yeah, I was gonna put this on.
There we go.
I guess I should put it like under my bangs.
I think I can get some. Get
Is
under
that
my
how he
headphones
wears it?
here.
Is that how he wears it? I just never mind.
We're so prepared. There.
I just put makeup on too, and I'm gonna get makeup all over this.
Well, yeah, we're starting a little bit early for the Clone Zone today because first of all, it's Molly's birthday and tons of people saying happy birthday in the chat. So thank you, everyone. I'll say thank you for you.
Thanks, everybody.
So we've got some evening plans for Molly's birthday, and those plans are to go win Star Wars trivia at a bar. So we had to start early so we could meet up with some friends later. But we're going to talk about the last episode of the Bad Batch, which I realized means this might be the last episode we ever do of the Clone Zone.
That is true.
Not that our after shows are really going to change. The only thing that's different about any of our after shows is just the name. But
yeah,
still,
it's kind of sad though, because we've had this after show for a while, and the name was kind of a.
Did we start for the Clone Wars season 7, or was it for the Bad Batch? I guess it was for the Bad Batch because Brian Ward put the 99 logo in there.
Yeah. But yeah, I think we've had a good run. It's time to retire the Clone Zone.
We had a good run because the Bad Batch had a really good run. I've been talking about the episode, I feel like, all day. We watched it this morning, and then I went and watched again and wrote the review and everything. But Molly, you haven't had a chance to word vomit at all. So what were your thoughts about the season series finale?
Well, I think I got pretty much everything I wanted. Like, if you've been watching our past episodes of these streams or the Q&As, I kept saying, I don't want any more main cast members to die. So I got that, and I'm pretty happy about it. This episode, like, my heart was racing the entire time because I wasn't sure if any of the main Bad Batch members were going to make it through. Like, they did a great job at making me think they were in real danger of dying. And so I don't think there's been a season finale like this that I've been so tense during and so worried during in a while. But it was great. It ended perfectly in my mind. Like, I think this was a great ending for them. I loved the little time jump forward at the very end. Like, that just made my heart so happy. So yeah, I thought it was great.
I'm really glad they did the time jump forward just to give a little extra sense of what they got up to, especially Omega. When it started to fade out on Pabu, I was kind of like, I mean, this is nice for the clones and everything, and I'm glad it's a peaceful ending, but I did want like just a little bit more. And then they faded back in, and I was like, okay, great. That's exactly what I wanted to see.
Yeah.
I was with you, very much hoping that everyone would survive, but also was full of anxiety the whole time because we didn't know. And Tech's death in season 2 meant that, they were willing to go there. So it served that purpose of this entire season feeling anxiety, even in the middle episodes. Like, I remember being scared for Wrecker when he was jumping off of the Juggernaut onto Fee's ship. And then at the start of this episode, him being wounded, I was immediately like, don't you dare take Wrecker away from me. So yeah, I just saw someone say that it was Samuel Rogers. 80% of the episode felt like pure anxiety.
Yeah, I was worried because our little microphones that we use for our reactions are like little clip-on things, and I had it like right here, and I was worried that it could like hear my heart pounding through my shirt.
What was the scariest moment of the episode for you?
I don't know, like Wrecker kept taking some really hard hits, and
That's kind of his thing, though.
but yeah,
But yeah, you're right.
he like towards the beginning of the episode, I think it was Crosshair who was like, "You're not okay," and I was like, "What do you mean?" So yeah, when that was scary, I was scared for Wrecker, and then of course when Hemlock got his hands on all of them and were like trying to brainwash them, I was like, "Oh no, oh no, oh no."
That was probably the biggest surprise for me in the episode because, since Echo split up from the group, I've been wondering how's he going to get back to the rest of the batch? How's Omega going to get up with the rest of the batch? How are they going to get inside? So knowing that they were all converging on that hangar where the Zillo Beast broke out, I was like, oh, perfect. They're all headed in the same direction. They're all going to meet up together and they're all going to kick ass together. And instead, the new CX troopers show up and in cap Hunter, Wrecker, and Crosshair and cut off Crosshair's hand. And then like Echo sees them just wheeling bodies by. I was like, oh my God, this is not at all how I thought this was going to happen.
I was not expecting Crosshair to lose his shaky hand. That was definitely not on my bingo card, but you know what? It's Star Wars. I should have known that was
Someone's got to lose a hand at some point.
I kept thinking, I mean, he did in the end finally get that moment where when he needed to take that shot, he took it and he nailed it. So he did get that moment, but I kept thinking we were going to see this like miraculous recovery of his shaky hand and show even more of his character growth that way. But I was like, oh, okay, we're just going to lose it. That's fine too.
Well, I think so much of his hand and his anxiety was coming not just from his own fears of going back into Tantus, but when he tried to break up Wrecker and Hunter and say, like, you guys go contact Rex, I'll go in alone. And he's trying to like do the heroic, noble sacrifice thing. I think he was just afraid of losing more of his family. And he's like, you guys get out of danger and I'll do this. And then near the end, he's like, I am too scared to take this shot I might hit Omega. But she has that look of trust and Hunter's like, you can do it. And then he does it. So I think it was a lot of anxiety about his family and how he is received by them, whether or not they truly love him. I love when Omega goes and hugs him first because like, I think in his mind, he thought of himself as like outside of the Bad Batch still. He's like Clone Force 99 is gone and it has been since Tech died. I don't think he saw it as his family or like he was fully accepted, but throughout the episode, he keeps getting shown that he is.
Yeah. And I think you mentioned it towards the beginning when he is like, this is what I deserve. I need to go in there alone. I'm like, Crosshair, how many times do we have to do this?
I believe your exact words were, get over yourself.
Get over yourself, Crosshair. You're not going in alone. Like, have you learned nothing?
Yeah, it's like over and over he feels like this is what he deserves, but it's like, come on, man. You've done the impossible in a Star Wars story. You became good and then you stayed good and you got to atone and show us what all that means. And yeah, like I was definitely most worried for Crosshair. But so relieved that he survived and is still alive by the time of the epilogue. I kind of wish we got to see him and Wrecker, but that one single line of just take care of Wrecker and Crosshair for me, that was enough.
That was really sweet.
I have to ask, and someone already did ask, but you are the person to ask this question to. What are your thoughts on Scorch's death?
Is this a real question or is this a joke question?
I honestly don't know.
Good riddance.
Those also were your exact words.
I'm being mean, but it's been a running joke that I just don't get it when it comes to Scorch. And of course I don't. I didn't play...
Real question.
I didn't play Republic Commando. I never bonded with him as a character. So when people kept bringing him up, I was like, what's the deal? Like, why is everybody so concerned with Scorch? And that just became a running joke. But no, I'm glad he died.
In the
He,
context of the show, yeah, he was, I think there, and the only reason they named him was just to have kind of like a face for the clone commandos and a villain for them to face. But yeah, I was kind of hoping that there would be something for the clone commandos to snap out of it. If there were some button that Omega could press to turn off all their inhibitor chips, or really get why the clone commandos, except for Gregor, got singled out to be just like, nah, we're all bad.
yeah, it's kind of strange. And, you know, it might, I don't want to suggest this, but like, it could be, especially for people like me or people who know even less about the clone commandos, they may not even know that there are clones in there. They might just think that they're TK troopers with fancy armor. And in that case, it's just like they're all bad. Everyone in a stormtrooper, any kind of trooper uniform, except for the Bad Batch, are bad.
Yeah. It's
So,
just like this slight little disconnect for me where this story is so much about how all clones get kind of a happy ending, except for you guys, except the clone commandos. It's strange,
yeah,
but
it
also
almost, sorry, it just almost feels like for me that they were treating them as if they were not clones.
it does
But
kind
they
of seem
are.
like that.
It's so
Yeah,
weird. I don't know.
it is strange, and there is still room, for more clone stories. I don't necessarily think we're going to get them right away, but there's talk of what everyone's going to do after the fact, that Echo and Emery are going to go and work with Senator Chuchi, and Hunter and the others are going to go take the kids back to their parents. So there's still room for the clone commandos to snap out of this or something, but it did seem a little strange in the overall context of this show that they're just the bad clones.
Yeah. Maybe if we can get a hold of someone who worked on the show, David W. Collins, I know is a big Scorch fan, so maybe we could
That's
ask
true.
him like, was there a plan ever, or were they always supposed to just be part of the villain story?
That would be funny because David W. Collins worked on Republic Commandos. So yeah, if he likes all of those clones a lot, so it's like, how did it feel to have to do the sound effects for Scorch being shot 8 times?
Oh no.
There were a lot of those deaths, like Scorch, the
Oh,
CX clones, and Hemlock. Hemlock is the funniest one, where he's not some souped up clone. He's not in armor, but Crosshair and Hunter are like, just keep shooting him until he falls off.
that was the tension in that scene alone on the bridge was insane, and that might be one of, if not the most satisfying kill by blaster in Star Wars for me. There's probably another one that I'm not thinking of, but at least for this show, definitely the most satisfying death to see that. It happened so fast, and I was like, yeah, keep shooting him.
I'm trying to think of a more satisfying death by blaster, and I think you might be right. Just Hemlock was a really fun villain the whole way through. I did want him to be eaten by the Zillo Beast. I joked in our reaction that I'll assume just below all those shadows and clouds where he fell, the Zillo Beast is just like waiting, just gonna
Mhm.
chomp him out of the midair.
Yeah, when the Zilla Beast left, I was like, no, don't go yet. You've got one more job.
Better than Nolan? Yeah, I think it was more satisfying than Nolan. I mean, like, Nolan dying at all was satisfying because it was Crosshair's big turn, but I don't know.
Oh,
Hemlock being shot like 8 times. I
yeah.
enjoyed that.
He was such a great villain, and they did so much for him in in this season to like really make you hate him. So it was just really satisfying.
What about the other big villain from the series? How did you feel about Rampart's death?
I I guess I was hoping that Rampart would have changed a little bit after having been in prison and then been kind of saved from prison, even though he was like a hostage from them. I was a little disappointed, but he went out like a punk, and he is a punk, so whatever. I'm
I
glad that Nala Se was the one to take him out.
Yeah,
That
like
was poetic justice.
that's really great. I remember just seeing that they were in the cell across from each other. I was like, oh, that's awkward. But yeah, having Nala Se be the one to hold the thermal detonator that blows him up. Love that. Loved his complete just delusion that, oh, I'll just take this data and I'll use it to negotiate my way back into the empire, back into power. Like that's insane, dude. But
Yeah.
I just wish that he let out one more epic scream because I love that
Well,
scream from the last episode.
yeah, we got so many good screams in the last one.
I guess how do you feeling about Nala Se's death?
I I think we talked about her in the last Q&A as one of the characters that might die, and I loved how she went out. She was like, they cannot have any part of this science or research, like it all has to be destroyed. And also for her to be the one to do it and kind of like do it for Camino and do it for Kaminoans. I forget what her line is, but it was like, this tech or this research, this science is, it will never be yours. It's the Kaminoans or something
Yeah.
like that. So I thought that was really a good way to end her story.
I look forward to hearing what Joseph Scrimshaw has to say about this on Force Center because he very eloquently he just puts things very well. But he's talked a lot about the Empire and how they want to try to take things that aren't theirs and control it. Kind of like, they think they control the Zillow Beast, but they can't. But that's just another thing where it's like, we're going to take this, we're going to wipe you out. It's ours now, even though we don't understand it. So yeah, I feel like Joseph's going to have some cool things to say about that.
I thought it was a nice end for the two of them.
Yeah, and Sean does make a good point. A solid oh shoot face.
It did bother me a little bit that Rampart shot her first before the bomb went off. I was like, really? And then at that point, I was like, I really want him to die. He was just being such a jerk.
As usual. Yeah, I mean, like, I definitely saw maybe a path to him being a better person after the last episode, but the second he was acting shifty when they let him out of prison, and then he had that like little hop around the data console. I almost spit my coffee out when that happened. That was just funny.
Especially the music cue. It was like a classic, kind of like a Scooby-Doo sound almost, where like a character peeks around the corner and is about to do something sneaky.
Speaking of music, I'm just gonna bounce around here while we talk our feelings out. But I think the music when Hemlock activates all the CX troopers is not the same because I did listen to it again, but it's very similar. I think it's kind of the same notes and the same rhythm as when the Dark Troopers are activated in The Mandalorian. So to me, that's another fun, like, potential lore connection that these CX troopers are connected to the Dark Troopers in some way. But what did you think about the new squad of beefed up clones?
I liked them. I'm kind of glad that we didn't see them until the very last episode, because it was like yet another step of Hemlock just trying to do his best to one up the Bad Batch. So he decided to make his own Bad Batch, kind of, where each one had a different kind of specialty or specialty weapon.
That's Nerdy Seb agrees. They had similar attributes as the Batch.
Yeah.
I definitely think one of them was like, yeah, taller and stronger, and one of them was a sharpshooter. So I do think there was kind of something to everyone's theories about, is that tech? No, not literally, but kind of like inspired by.
Yeah. But like I said, I'm glad they were only in the finale because like they were scary. They made me think, oh, these guys might actually be the ones to kill our main characters, but they like you can't win. The Bad Batch is too good.
I also was just surprised that they were all unique, first of all. Uh, but yeah, I thought that they were fun villains to introduce at the end. I'm also really glad that the one with the swords got knocked over and his helmet popped off. Just so you can be like, it's definitely a reg. Just
Yeah.
everyone look at that guy's face. It's a reg.
One of them,
I
another
I
just
like that.
big,
The bad batch.
the Bad Batch. Another big element of this episode that just was so satisfying was not only did we get to see Hemlock die, he totally failed. All of his stuff is gone. So all the research that he did with the clone or like the experimentation on the clones, the research, the blood samples, and then all the work that he did on these souped up CX clones, they got to see one day and then they were gone. So like it was just really satisfying to see all of his work destroyed.
I loved that moment where he comes in and he tries to say something snarky about clone loyalty. What a weakness. It's like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, your base is burning down around you because of clone loyalty.
Yeah.
It's just like the most empty thing you could have possibly said.
How is that different to him being loyal to the Emperor?
It's way different. Like the fact that he loses everything because he thinks he's indispensable to the Empire. And I love that he has that little speech with Rampart, who's like the poster child for we're all dispensable to the Empire. So I really love that. And it was kind of just this running thread of him thinking he's so important. And at the end of the day, he loses everything. And then Tarkin comes and just is like, well, shut it all down. He's gone. We don't care. We're not going to think twice about him. We're never going to speak his name again.
Yeah, I was so glad that Tarkin showed back up because his inclusion in this story was great just because Tarkin's just sitting back waiting for him to fail so he can come sweep up his mess and take what he can use, and that's exactly what he did. He goes in and he's like, shut it down. Any resources, any funding goes to my project and Project Stardust.
I'm just going to take all this and it's mine now.
Yeah. That was fun to see.
Well, we'll probably get into some more questions here in just a second, but I figure we can start with this one. What was your favorite part of the episode? And we can use this to show off our last drawings for the series, or if you have a different favorite part, you can talk about that too.
I think I have two favorite parts. I did draw one of them. One of my favorite parts was the very, very end, the time jump forward, getting to see an older Omega and knowing that she goes off and helps with the rebellion as a pilot. Like,
goes off to Rebel College.
Yeah, that was really cool. Got me really excited. But just the moment where they all get to have a little sit down on Pabu and like they just get a moment to like rest and to be like, okay, we did it. It's over. Batcher can take a nap. We can all be happy.
Batcher's the one napping, just like Hilo is right next to me.
Yeah. That was just a really nice moment.
I drew two things. One of them is related to my favorite moment, probably. And then the other one was just something really cute that I noticed on a second watch. But first I drew over here is Wrecker and Jax celebrating the defeat of their fear of heights. They're both standing on Mount Tantus celebrating.
Look at Wrecker's muscles.
I tried to draw stick muscles. Man, that part hit me out of nowhere. Uh, when Jax is like, "You want us to go up there?" and I was like, "Oh God, he's scared of heights." And then his sad little, "I guess I wouldn't make a very good soldier." It was just like the fact that for an entire series they made us kind of they had this running joke of Wrecker's afraid of heights, haha, and we kind of laugh about it, and then it all turns around and gets flipped on its head, where it's like we never thought that Wrecker was a bad soldier because he was
No.
afraid of heights. So Omega's immediately like, Jax, the strongest person I know, also doesn't like heights. Like, you can do this. I'm getting a little teary eyed thinking about it now. It was
Oh.
so cute, so sweet.
Well, it's also like those kids shouldn't have to be thinking about being good soldiers at this age or
Yeah.
at any age, if they don't want to be a soldier. So that was really a sad thing for him to say in that moment. So yeah, it makes sense.
So I loved that. And I also, on second watch, noticed that Eva puts a little sling on her back for her
Oh
Lula
yeah.
doll.
Oh, I thought we laughed about that in the
I
reaction.
I did not catch that. I was laughing about Baron because they put the
Yeah.
baby in a sling, and so I was so focused on Baron.
Yeah,
Uh,
no, she looks back and she's like, "Yeah, I did
Boom!
it."
I was like, "Oh my god, that's adorable." Their little jumpsuits need pockets, but
Yeah.
that was the best. It's fun little details. But yeah, we can start diving into some questions unless there's something specific you want to talk about.
I'm sure one of these questions will jog my memory if there is, but yeah, let's get into questions.
First up for me from SS, what happened to the Zillow Beast? This one I'm pretty sure is a joke. And
It's
I
gone forever to live happily ever after.
yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Happily ever after, walking around on Wayland. It's now the apex predator, probably gonna destroy that planet ecologically, or maybe it's just gonna go hibernate somewhere,
It's
the same
gonna
way the last one was.
it's gonna become the new smog and live in one of those mountains
That's
and
mm,
collect gold.
I can see that. I can see a new Smaug.
Smaug. Uh,
Chip. Oh, go ahead.
Chipmunk of Vengeance. Thanks for becoming a member of the 603rd. I was like, wait, 403rd? No, 603rd.
Verissa Lopez, thanks for the next question. Favorite unexpected moment? Mine was Hemlock being so terrified and backed into a desperate corner. Second was Crosshair's hug, and Hunter, you'll always be our kid. I mean, maybe that Jax moment, that might be the most unexpected thing to me.
Crosshair losing his hand
Oh, yeah.
was
That's
was
probably.
maybe my most unexpected. It doesn't really mean anything in Star Wars to lose a hand. You just get a little robot hand, but I just wasn't expecting that. And I was like, oh no.
Yeah. I think I'll go with that too, actually. Because I was hoping, I was kind of expecting them all to survive. I was crossing my fingers at least, but I was not expecting one of them to get maimed.
Yeah.
Oh, and Tycho Murner, the super nerd in me saw that Imperial class Star Destroyer and was like, "Ooh, I've seen him a million times before."
That got no reaction out of me. I was just like, "Yep, the baddies are here."
I think that's probably the earliest we've seen. I guess it depends on the exact timeline, but that's one of the earliest Star Destroyers we've seen in the timeline. Joel Davis, thank you for the next one. You think Palpatine's going to be mad at Tarkin that he took Project Necromancer money, or will Palpatine play it off for now until the time is right?
I don't think he'll be mad. I mean, he can't do anything about losing all the work that has been done on Mount Tantus. All he can do is know that, okay, well, whatever's salvageable can go towards my next big project.
Yeah, I think Palpatine is probably like, without scientists, there's no point. And with Hemlock being gone, probably means just less money going into Project Necromancer anyway. So I think he needs to find scientists. But hey, guess what? You killed all your cloners. So I think he's in a tough spot anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't think he would blame Tarkin for being like, yeah, I guess in the meantime, let's focus on the Death Star.
MK in chat asked, what is Project Stardust? So that is the beginnings of building the Death Star, right?
Yep.
It's from Rogue One.
It's just the Death Star. If you want to get like super technical, it's the super laser.
Yeah.
But...
it's named after Jyn Erso from Rogue One.
Ice, thank you for the next one. Hey all, what a finale. Bad Batch went out in spectacular fashion. Not what I expected, but in a good way. Sad to see it go, but I've loved watching it. Can't believe it's over. We've come a long way. Also, yeah, sad to see it go, but kind of want to just binge it all again.
Yeah,
maybe we'll do that in the next month.
Especially the last couple episodes, just to be able to watch them all together would be fun.
I want to go back and rewatch some of the OG episodes and just experience the full arc, especially knowing like where Crosshair winds up. That's kind of what I want to experience.
Yeah, I just want to go back to when Tech was alive.
Yeah.
I started this one from earlier. Podracer 35 asked, was Nala Se the last Kaminoan alive? I don't think so.
Definitely not. I think we still have Lama Su running around somewhere. We saw him in season 2. And in what book was it? I think it was the book about Hondo that takes place around the time of the sequel trilogy. He does have a little adventure that involves a Kaminoan. And it is noted that they are a rare sight in the galaxy, but they're around. And also, yeah, Howley Bertoni, the senator who is a senator of nothing, is still around. But there are a few.
That was kind of rough.
Well, sorry, but it's true.
Hello, Senator of Nothing.
Sean Room, thanks for being part of the 603rd. For real though, who's starting Hauser Watch?
Oh yeah,
I think you're gonna start it, Sean. That sounds like a you thing.
Well, kind of adjacent to that, I was also shocked that none of the other clones showed up. Talking about unexpected things, like I guess I expected them all to show up at some point, either at Mount Tantus to help, or in the end on Pabu, or something like that. So I'm fine that they didn't, because this show is about the Bad Batch, and we can just assume they're out there fighting the good fight, you know? And we know where Rex and Gregor and Wolf end up, so.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to see Rex again, and I'm also surprised that they didn't appear. I wasn't upset about it, just surprised. Like, it would have been nice because it was a conclusion of just like, you know, the story of clone troopers, and Rex is like the main one. But he had a nice send off at the end of the Clone Wars, and we know where his story goes, so that's all right.
Yeah. Crystal Cedar, thanks for the next super chat. Happy birthday, Molly. Thank you. Or happy Bad Batch birthday, specifically. And Gonky lives. I was so excited to see him go off with Omega, because Gonky can live forever, as far as I'm concerned.
He'll never die. Yeah, I was also glad to see him. And her ship, the fact that she took Lula and Tech's goggles back, like all of that was really sweet and really nice. She had the Christmas lights in the back.
Yeah, it was like a tiny little Havoc Marauder. It's cute.
Alphonse Collado, thank you for the next one. Hey guys, the finale hit it out of the park. Little upset we didn't get a clone rebellion, but season 3 didn't do a lot with that plot line. Hope to see it down the line. Overall, great show and solid ending. I'm taking what we got as like a minor clone rebellion. It wasn't like a
Yeah.
full-on uprising, but it was on Tantus.
I loved the moment when one of the clones in the cell was like, "Hey, little girl, what's going on?" She's like, "We're breaking out of here."
Here,
Like,
take a gun.
yeah, that was that was a good little rebellious moment for everyone to kind of band together and get out of there.
That whole moment of like, you can leave, but we need your help. Like, of course, all of them are like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah. Swole Yoda kind of wanted Omega to sacrifice herself for the squad and the rest of the clones. Just thought it would be shocking, but so emotional, would destroy us all. Oof.
I think that would
I
have been
don't.
too much. Just she's. I mean, all the clones are young technically, but Omega specifically, it's like we know her as a young girl, so
Yeah.
I think that would have been a
That
little
would
too
have
far.
that would have taken so much wind out of my sails if Omega was the one to die. This whole show has been about, I mean, the whole Bad Batch, but she's kind of the main character, right? She's like the one that brought them all together and taught them how to be normal people and get over their fears and stuff and be a family.
I mean,
Yeah.
she's also like the culmination of all of them being taught skills from Tech and Echo and Hunted, literally all of them. And so now, having learned all that she can, and getting to live a peaceful life for some number of years before going out. I'm just going to call it Rebel College because that it did feel like just a going off to college moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, like she is the one that's going to carry on the Bad Batch's legacy.
I'm going to assume she went straight to Hera and
Oh
was
yeah,
like, "Where
yeah.
do you need me?"
I like that. I mean, we haven't seen her since season 1, I don't think, but that would be really nice.
Yeah.
Ice, thanks for the next one. I was sobbing at so many points. So much of this episode hit hard on so many levels, and my stress was through the roof throughout the whole thing. Also, happy birthday, Molly. Hope you're having a great one. How does it feel to get the finale as a birthday gift?
Thank you, Ice. It feels really great, especially that, I pretty much got everything I wanted and that I had said and that I had kind of asked for. So, yeah, this was a great birthday surprise.
The only thing you didn't like was having to wake up early to watch it.
Well, yeah, we had to be just like everybody else today. Get up early to watch it.
You didn't yell at me this time though. A couple
No.
weeks ago, our alarm went off, and I like went over to nudge Molly and wake her up, and she was like, "Don't touch me. I'm already awake."
I've been getting up earlier, so I was already up. I was like, okay,
You got up before I did.
this is fine. Guiguio, thanks for the next one. What was your biggest unanswered question? Mine was the cloning tank room. Not even a mention of it in the report to Tarkin was weird.
Tarkin
Yeah,
might not know about it.
I just assumed it got destroyed. Maybe the Zilla Beast destroyed it on his way out, or the explosion was like close to it. I did want to see what was in there, but it's okay that I predicted long ago that we were never going to see what was in those, so I'm okay with that.
I would say that's also my biggest unanswered question, but I feel like it is answered. Like, what's in the tank room? We kind of know. It's got to be Palpatine. That makes the most sense. And not actually seeing it, it's kind of like the Jaws theory where, it makes it creepier not
Mhm.
knowing for sure. But what else would it be? It could be Snoke's or something, but that would be strange. I figure it's got to be Palpatine's.
Yeah. I can't think of any other like big unanswered questions that I had.
I don't either. I guess where was Rex? Just because I wanted to see him, but that's not a huge lingering question for me either.
Yeah. I probably had other unanswered questions, but nothing that is gonna bug me after this finale. I thought it was wrapped up nicely.
John Smith, thank you for the next one. While I'm sad the show's over, I'm looking forward to what's next. I've missed the more relaxed, lighter toned episodes from the last 2 seasons. Yeah, this season was pretty much all just like go, go, go. There weren't that many like faster. The one with where Tech goes racing.
Yeah.
So yeah, just like whenever you get to start a new Star Wars series, it usually takes a little time to goof around a little bit. So whatever we get next will probably have some lighthearted stuff in it.
Well, if you're itching to watch some more lighthearted Star Wars animation, I would check out Young Jedi Adventures.
That's as lighthearted as it gets. But like it's so charming.
It's for little kids, but it is really cute and has some solid humor in it at times. So
it's very cute, very enjoyable. I'm surprised as people who are 30 years over the target age demographic, it's like we still enjoy it.
Yeah. Samuel Rogers, thank you for the question. Somewhat unrelated, but what do you think are the best series finales ever? My favorite is Succession for feeling tragic yet inevitable. Also, happy birthday, Molly. Thank you.
We're about to rewatch one of our favorites. I think the Parks and Recreation finale is incredibly good.
Yeah, it does a great job at like going back and revisiting a lot of the characters, which is fun, and we get a huge time jump. So that's a good one. I don't know.
I like Breaking Bad a lot. It actually seemed satisfying. I don't want to. It's so many years old, but I don't want to like spoil anything in case people have never watched it. But it was a very satisfying finale. Hey, HoloNet Marauders, got the headbands on.
I did like the Buffy finale. There were parts
that's
of
actually
it.
Buffy's a great finale, I think.
There were parts of it that I was that I struggled with, but overall, I thought it ended well.
Again, like it's so old that I still don't. Whatever, it's so old. For the entirety of the Buffy series, she like just wants to be a normal girl, and then at the end, it's like she has that chance to be. The weight of the world is not on only her shoulders. It's so good.
She's cookies.
And also the fight at the Hellmouth is rad.
Oh yeah, they blew their whole budget on that finale.
Sozin's Comet, the Last Airbender finale. Yeah, those are all very good. Robert Bush, thanks for the next one. For a minute, I thought the batch were going to become CX troopers, but I'm so happy they didn't because that would have been so sad. Great finale. Yeah, I was wondering if we were going to get a repeat of Wrecker back from season 1 when his chip activated, and it was terrifying. I was afraid that was going to happen again, but I'm glad Omega got to them all in time.
Me too. Like, I don't know how much it would have taken of whatever the brain zappies were, but I mean, it was kind of like showing us these characters have come so far and done so much work with themselves. They are so resilient physically and mentally that like no amount of brain zappies are going to turn them evil again.
Can't brain zappy Hunter. It won't work.
That's the technical term.
Yeah.
Cameron Andrews, thank you for the next one. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like the final scene is setting up an Omega show with her and the Rebellion as the next animated series. I didn't get that vibe, but I think the point of that was if they did want to at some point do anything with Omega, we know she's part of the Rebellion somehow. So they made it very clear that she's doing great. They're all happy, but she is young enough that she's like, this is my fight. you guys did your share of fighting. Like, it's time for you guys to stay here and retire. I'm going to go out and do my own thing. But I
Yeah,
don't think it means her own show.
There are definitely potential spin-off points from what we've seen in the Bad Batch. Like, people have been speculating about Asajj and where she's going to pop up again. I think that was just an epilogue for the Bad Batch. I don't necessarily think they were trying to hint at what's coming next. So I don't really expect what's coming next to be connected to the Bad Batch. Like, I think I would prefer that they divert and just do something completely different. And I'll bring this up because it's relevant from Kashyyyk 2012. Thanks so much. What are your thoughts on a Rex spinoff show? Like, we've had a lot of Rex stories already, and I don't want Star Wars to keep going back to the same wells over and over and over. I think they need to expand out into other areas. And as far as I'm concerned, like, everything within the Skywalker saga has been mined pretty heavily, especially the Reign of the Empire and Age of Rebellion eras. So I'd be okay to like go somewhere else.
Let's give D. Bradley Baker a break. Can we?
That man's never going to get to rest, because I mean, clones are always going to pop up, I think.
Yeah, and he does so many other voices for other characters and creatures and stuff like that, but he's done so much. And that counts for Rex too. Like, I don't think Rex is going to get many more stories because he's had a lot. And I don't know. I don't think they're going to do, like you said, I don't think they're going to do any more clone stories for a long time.
And obviously, I know they're expanding with the Acolyte, but that's one show that's like, it's the first live action show that's set outside of the Skywalker saga. And I don't think we've had an animated show ever do that. So, like, I don't want just one little thing to be like, and here's one tiny expansion. Like,
yeah,
I want them to keep going out elsewhere too.
I would love to see some more stuff in the sequel trilogy era. If they want to try to go there and do like an animated show or something, that would be nice.
This isn't like some ultimatum. I'm not done with clones, but like,
I'm done with them.
You're done with Scorch.
No, it's not like I'm sick of them. Clones were never a big part of my Star Wars fandom until the Bad Batch. And like, this show really made me fall in love with them, but mostly just the Bad Batch.
Yeah, like, we didn't grow up with the Clone Wars like so many of the Star Wars fandom has. We're just in the generation before that. I would be perfectly fine if they announced another clone show, but it just seems like we've spent a lot of time there and we can spread out.
Yeah. Guiguio, thanks for the next one. The CX team felt like a better version of the future Scar Squadron of the comics, another loss for the Empire that will never be as good later on.
Yep. I keep forgetting about Scar Squadron, and they are obviously inspired by the Bad Batch as well. But yeah, every time they popped up in the comics, the first time they appeared, they were super cool. And then every time after that, they just kind of dropped the ball and were not very threatening.
No.
So yeah,
Womp
CX
womp.
team is like, yeah, you can't copy the Bad Batch. There's only one Bad Batch.
Yeah.
Ice, thanks for another one. I can't believe everyone survived. I was shocked, but really happy too. It all felt earned. I was worried about Wrecker the whole time. I was afraid he was going to bleed out from his wound or something. Echo and Emery leaving to rejoin Rex felt like possible setup for another spinoff. We didn't address Cody or Wolf at all. The focus was very much on the Batch, and honestly, that's more than fine. I've seen a lot of people not angry. Some people have been angry that Cody didn't pop back up, but I was like, I don't know why people expected Cody to be back.
I don't either. It was just a lot of people's favorite clone, and they wanted him back.
Yeah, I love Cody, but like ever since Rampart said he went AWOL, I'm like, okay, well he's AWOL. He's
That
off
probably
doing something.
means he was done fighting this fight, and he was gonna just get out of there and try to move on with his life.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he'll pop. I'm sure we'll see him again at some point, but like the point of his appearance in season 2 was more for Crosshair.
Mhm.
And I don't know, I wasn't expecting him to be in the finale like some people apparently were.
Maybe I can hear Pippin in there.
It's
Maybe
almost dinner time, Pippin.
at some point we'll get a Cody story in one of the Certain Point of View books. That would be fun.
Yeah, that's true. If we ever do a Clone Wars POV or something.
Kent, thank you for the next super chat. Thought reveal would be the CX troopers were Fixer and Boss commandos, and Tech and Cody. Scorch fights his brothers. Crosshair fights Tech. Echo fights Cody. I mean,
I just always thought the CX troopers were regs.
yeah.
But I do think that there's that one. One of them looked taller and stronger.
Oh, yeah.
I'm wondering if maybe they got like some cybernetic enhancements, because that would line up with the Phase Zero Dark Trooper from Legends.
Mm. I like that headcanon.
I like this from Brad Scanlon. I reckon Dave has a plan for Cody, so just like he had one for Barris. So
yeah,
in 11 years,
he's giving us his Barris story so that we can move on from that, and then now everyone was gonna be like, well, what about Cody?
There's always that one character that we're like, but what about? What happened to them? Dave, you show us what happened to them, Dave.
You have to show us. You have to.
Ice, thank you for some more super chats. Keeping things personal is not unusual for the series finale. Clone Wars did it, Rebels did it, now Bad Batch has. But those are the big lingering story threads. My only real gripe with this finale is that we didn't learn more about Necromancer or go back to the Sith room with the bats to see what was inside. I was hoping we would hear Nala Se's explanation to Rampart. I did laugh when like we cut away and then came back and I was like, oh, he gets to hear the whole story right before he dies. I was hoping to hear Nala Se's explanation and get some confirmation as he learns about it, but they cut away entirely.
I mean, we know what it is.
Right.
We don't have to see it.
Yeah, it's something that I get it. Like, I enjoy having things spelled out in concrete terms too, but I think we know enough to just be like, yeah, it's Palpatine trying to clone a suitable vessel for him to inhabit after he dies. That's it. Like, I think we can infer enough on what's in the vats, even though I also did want to see it. And every time they were like, let's go to the vault, I was like, ooh, here we go. And they're like, we're back in the nursery. I was like, okay.
Yeah, I had a feeling they weren't going to show us any of that stuff, which I was okay with. Coleslaw, thank you for a very, very generous super chat. Anyone else ship Echo and Emery for a second before remembering that they're siblings or more than siblings? But then this wouldn't even be the first Disney Plus show where someone makes out with another version of themselves. Happy birthday, Molly. Thank you.
That's funny. I assume that's a Loki joke, but maybe that's happened in other Disney Plus series. I don't know.
I did think they were being cute together, and I was excited that she was there on Pabu and she was eager to help in any way that she can. So I assume she's going to go with Echo and the rest of the clones to, was it to Pantora?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that she is completely turned around, wants to keep on fighting. I do think there's something that's like an unanswered, lingering question, is just Emery in general, and the fact that Omega wasn't the only female clone. And Joseph Scrimshaw brought this up a couple times over the course of the season, but Omega dropped just like, oh yeah, and there's this clone Emery, she's like us. And everyone there was just like, okay, cool. And it's like, don't you have more questions? What I do have questions about her backstory, but I guess I have enough headcanon that I'm like, I think I got it figured out enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, I wanted to bring up Coleslaw had another kind of a part 2 to their super chat. By the way, the island of Pabu is obviously a giant ancient space avocado that was dropped into the sea by a passing Purrgil. Just look at it. It's been a while since we had an avocado joke, but I'm glad you brought it back. Thank you.
I remember when you accidentally started all that.
So excited to talk about avocados.
Look what you have wrought.
I don't mind.
Mixable Islands, thanks for the next one. What year do you think Omega chose to join the Rebels?
So I was just going off of how old she looked.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you said it was like maybe 10 years
Maybe
later, but I felt like it was less than 10 years later. I don't know. I have nothing to back that up, but I'm not going to throw out a guess on a year.
I was just throwing out a random, like, I don't know, 10-ish years. That would make her 23. But maybe you're right, because I keep calling it felt like going off to college. So maybe she would be 18, so maybe 5 years, which would only make it like 14 BBY. That seems too early. But I guess so does 9 BBY, because like the rebellion hadn't, the way she talked about the rebellion needs pilots makes it sound like it had more firmly become a thing.
But I mean, I think with her connections, she probably knew about the rebellion pretty early on.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm hoping that she continued to talk to Omega and stuff. So it's just that calling it the rebellion seemed like a more official thing.
Wait, who?
Omega?
Who are you talking about talking to her?
Hera? I said,
oh,
maybe Hera.
Okay.
Could have been talking to her.
Never mind. Yeah, I think she had a lot of good, solid connections to where she was getting the deets pretty early on.
But I do think it's probably more. I'm going to go with more than 10 years now. But I don't know. I'm sure they're keeping it vague on purpose so that whenever they decide to re-explore that idea, there's flexibility.
Yeah. I'm not even going to think about what year it was, because I'm just happy at how it ended. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Ice, thanks for the next one. The remaining clone characters feels like something we can revisit at any time, but Necromancer feels like something that won't be as relevant again.
Oh, I disagree on that. Like, who would have thought that Necromancer was going to be relevant to the Bad Batch at all?
I mean, we're going to see more about Project Necromancer in Mando.
Probably, yeah. So, yeah. So. I think that all we needed to know about Project Necromancer here is that the clones royally messed it up.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. I still love that. I think that's such an awesome connection back to future Star Wars stories, that the clones who the Empire tried to control inadvertently ruined all of Palpatine's plans. Like, the most important thing he had going, these clones effed it up. I think that's great.
They put a huge dent in the plans for all of this, so good for them.
Mr. Shu, thanks for the next one. Star Wars is the only IP where you can show a child carrying a gun around. Omega with the blaster half the episode was hilarious to me. Honestly surprised Disney allowed that. It's Star Wars. They're blasters. Come on.
She's barely considered to be a child in this finale. She's like a young adult at this point.
She's older than all the clones there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that is true though. And then all the like headshots that we saw in this episode, I was like, wow, they're really going for it.
Honestly, yeah, like this was a violent episode. They turned off stun, but I mean, usually they were using stun when they were fighting clones. So TK
Mhm.
troopers, they're like, no stuns this time. And yeah, those CX troopers took like 5 shots to the body and then 1 to the head. I was like, oh my gosh, they're really going for it.
Yeah. Ice, thanks for another one. We know they keep cloning, but when will a story naturally make sense to follow up on it as much as this show? But that didn't detract from how much I love the episode and the ending. Just some thoughts.
Also says, with Palpatine's visit, I'm fine to assume the vault held clones of him. It's a strong hint, but considering a casual fan who's not neck deep in the lore, it's not really something they'll pick up on. Casual
Oops,
fans, well,
sorry.
casual fans probably don't know Palpatine returned via a clone body in The Rise of Skywalker or the difficulties he encountered trying to do it. We know, but we're diehards. Just felt it was odd in that way. I think that, I mean, you say that when is it going to make sense to naturally follow up on it in another story? But like, if you told me in season 1 or 2 that the Bad Batch season 3 was going to connect to Project Necromancer, I would have been surprised. Like,
Mhm.
I think you're just limiting what is natural. Like, as long as the writers can find a way to bring it in, it doesn't have to be, it can be about just about anything in between
Yeah.
now and The Rise of Skywalker.
And like we've talked about before, I think something about all that stuff and Project Necromancer as a whole, it makes it creepier not knowing and not seeing it spelled out for us. You know, it's like a lot of what Palpatine has going on, he did keep pretty secret. So I think it's meant to be not really seen as much. I don't know. I'm just like, it doesn't bother me that we didn't see more about it.
I'm bringing up Joseph a lot, uh, but Scrimshaw said in their last review something about like just how much fun it is to not know in Star Wars, and I do like eventually getting things set in definite terms, like this is what blah 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 was. But in the meantime, it's fun to theorize and speculate and stuff. And I think it would be less fun if just every little thing they were like, here's the answer, instead
Mhm.
of, I think of like Ilum. For a while, fans, including me, were excited about this idea that like there's a lot of hints that maybe Ilum became Starkiller Base, and it seemed like a crazy thing until Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order eventually was like, here's a pretty strong hint, if not like a full on answer for you.
Mhm.
So I don't know. It's fun to have those theories and then eventually maybe get them proven.
Yeah. Another one here from Chipmunk of Vengeance. When do you think the epilogue took place? I think it was for BBY after Ezra's transmission. Okay, so we kind of already touched on this.
Yeah. I do like the
It's,
idea that she just went and met with Hera.
yeah.
Wait, once you said that, I was like, yep, that's my head canon.
I think 4 BBY is a fine estimate.
Marissa Lopez, thank you for the next one. Rex is my zaddy, but in a way, I'm glad it was just the batch at the end, especially that closing shot of Pabu, since Echo wasn't technically Clone Force 99. Echo was like just this in and out. I'm glad he had such a strong part in the finale episodes. Uh, I wouldn't have minded him getting to also sit and chill with the rest of the clones on Pabu, but
Yeah.
like he doesn't fully seem like he's one of the brothers. You keep referring to
Mhm.
him as fun Uncle Echo, and I think that is kind of accurate.
I kind of liked, though, that he was eager to get to Pantora
Yeah,
and
like
to introduce Emery to that side of things. Like, I think because he wasn't around so much in the last season of the show, he was eager to go and
mhm.
fight the fight in a different way.
Yeah, it's very much in line with his character throughout this series.
Yeah. Joel Davis, thanks for the next one. I think animation will always stay in the Dark Times era because of being able to use the same animation assets and not make new ones, which is cheaper.
I mean, now you're speaking my language.
That's true, but like they've been doing that for how many years with Clone Wars and Bad Batch? We can move on.
Yeah, I mean, they did Resistance. I think there's so much space to explore in the New Republic era, which they might stay away from right now, considering the Mandoverse. But if they wanted to jump into the time in between that and the Rise of the First Order or something like kind of the later New Republic times, or let's finally do Old Republic. I don't know. we're expanding into Dawn of the Jedi eventually with Mangold's film. Like, I just want to spread out a little bit.
Yeah. There's literally space to explore. Let's do it.
Ice, thank you for another one. I'm going to go ahead and call the new CX clones the first phase Dark Troopers. They were insanely terrifying, to be honest. All the different weapons and the brutality. I gasped when Crosshair lost his hand. I almost called them that in my review today because I figure they are just Dark Troopers. But then the credits still just listed them all as Clone X Troopers. And so I was like, okay, I won't jump the gun, but in my head, yeah, they're basically the phase 0 or phase 1 clone or Dark Troopers.
I almost don't want to give that satisfaction to Hemlock and what he was doing there. Like, they could have been phase 1 Dark Troopers, but they were only out for like a day. So screw Hemlock's plans.
All my homies hate Hemlock. While you're coughing
a lot,
over there,
sorry.
Yeah. Daryl Cooper, thanks for the super chat and for the birthday wishes for Molly.
Thank you. I was cleaning earlier and I inhaled a ton of dust, so I hope I'm not sick and it was just that making me cough. Andrew Pila, thank you for the next one. What if Dathan is in the tanks? Does the timeline line up, or an early version of him?
I think it's too early, but I can probably find out real fast.
I think it's too early.
Because I'm pretty sure he was born on Exegol, and I believe it was because of what we just saw happen. He, like, Project Necromancer goes down the crapper on Mount Tantus, and so they have to move somewhere new. So they go to Exegol, and then they're just scrambling and trying to figure out how to make a suitable clone vessel for Palpatine. And Dathan is one of those results, one of those experiments. So, okay, yeah. According to, The Shadow of the Sith, that novel, Dathan was born 7 years after Revenge of the Sith. So I would say it's way too early for that.
Yeah. Agreed.
Nerdy Seb, thanks for the question. Just wanted to say keep up the great work. The clone being stabbed next to the box was crazy. Oh, I jumped at that. I did not like that.
Through the wall.
Yeah, I always feel so bad for the side characters that almost make it. I'm like, you were gonna get out.
Yeah.
And
they were in those prison cells for who knows how long.
Yeah.
And they got out and
it's like whenever we watch the Two Towers, there's this one character, like this background guy that gets grabbed by an Urukai and killed. And right after that, they call the retreat and call everyone into the Hornburg. And I'm like, that dude was so close. I just feel bad for him. So that's the same deal here. That poor guy. But he knew the risk. He was there to save the Bad Batch.
For the greater good, for the greater mission, you know, they all knew the risks going into that fight, and better to go out in a blaze of glory, I guess, than just keep getting experimented on.
I'm better to yeah, I mean, it's basically what Andor said. I'd rather die trying to get out than by giving them what they want.
Yeah. David Livingston, thanks for the next one. I agree with your headcanon of Omega meeting with Hera. Also, I like that Omega was the pilot for whichever ship Nick Stant was on.
I like that. Yeah.
That'd be fun.
They're both in Return of the Jedi at the Battle of Endor, and she was like the dropship pilot for Rex or Nick Sant or whoever you want that to be.
Yeah, I like that. I like the idea of Omega just being at that little celebration at the end of Return of the Jedi, clapping with Lando.
Hey, Maddie Gunner, thanks so much for the super chat. Happy birthday, Molly. Anyone else's allergies kick up finding out Omega became a pilot like Tech trained her, or just mine?
Aw, thanks, Maddie. Yeah, the whole end of this show, I was like choking back tears. You can see it in the reaction on Patreon. Like I finally was able to let some out after, but I was just like, I couldn't let go and like start crying because I was afraid I was going to miss something. And I was choking back tears for like the whole last half of that episode.
It's interesting, just like our process. We wake up, we watch the video, or we watch the episode, and then like I watch it again kind of scene by scene and write about each scene, and then I have to go like get images and stuff out of it, and like going frame by frame, sometimes you just catch like these crazy little details in the animation that, yeah, I was just like tearing up all morning.
Yeah. Bill Rudd, thanks for the next one. I love that Echo got to free a bunch of clones who were being experimented on. It's like poetry. It rhymes. Long live the clone zone. Happy birthday, Molly. Thank you.
The clone zone is dead.
The clone
Long
zone.
live clone. Zorp is dead. Long live Zorp. But yeah, I'm so glad that Echo got to be. If Rex and all the rest of them couldn't be there, like Echo had to be there.
Yeah, had to.
Joel Davis, thank you for another one. What do you think the Imperial Remnant is using Project Necromancer for in the Mandoverse if Palpatine is already on Exegol, by then decaying very slowly? I think it's the same thing. Like, I think there's still, the Mandoverse stuff is a little blurry right now. We don't know exactly what's going on. I'm going to assume that some people might know about Palpatine. Some people might know about the Final Order. I don't think the entire Imperial Remnant knows, but I think that either they know that Palpatine is in a failing body on Exegol and they're trying to fix that, or it could be that they don't know anything about Exegol and they're just trying to clone the Emperor.
Yeah.
I hadn't really thought about that until now, but they could be just trying and failing on their own with no knowledge at all that Palpatine is out there somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, that was Palpatine's like one big main goal, was to live forever via clones. So
yeah,
they just keep going back to that stupid plan.
Palpatine won't stay dead.
Ice, thanks for the next one. Hemlock's death was so satisfying. I like that all three got at least one hit on him. It's not getting eaten by the Zillo, but I will take it. Yeah, I think it, like I said earlier, was one of the most satisfying deaths for me in Star Wars. Like, I was just ready for him to be gone for good.
I'm still gonna keep my head canon that the Zillo Beast was down there. He either caught, yeah. Either that, or I mean, Lurka Hounds or a Dryax probably got him. All I'm saying is Hemlock was probably eaten, just not alive.
Maybe the Zillo Beast took him and was doing experiments on him.
Zillo Beast's like, how do you like it? Yeah, Hemlock's not dead. Zillo Beast took him to his own mountain.
Yeah.
That got grim.
Yeah.
Cameron Andrews, thank you for the next one. I would love to believe that Omega is at the Battle of Endor and Rex and her just kick ass. I think Omega, if we know she joined the rebellion, I have to imagine she's in it for the long haul. She doesn't tend to leave fights unfinished.
Right. I do, as much as we have talked about not wanting to see any more spin-offs of this, if we do get to see more stuff from Omega, that would be fun because she's just kicking all kinds of butt, doing whatever she wants to do. So
I bet we'll see her pop up in a comic or something at some point.
Oh, for sure. I loved her older character model too. The hair looked great. Miguel Melendez, thank you for the next super chat. Do the Jedi have some sort of retirement system, besides Order 66?
Yeah, actually. At least in the High Republic, there was a comic where there's like an old folks home, like a Jedi retirement home, and it's like on a ship, and Torben Buck and Cantum Sai have a mission to go help them do something. I can't remember the exact details, but there is a retirement system for Jedi.
It's not just the Jedi Council?
Nope. But I mean, yeah, they have a lot of old farts on that council.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Having just finished reading The Living Force and getting to know Yariel Poof and Appa Rensis and all them a little bit better, that was super fun. I love that Yariel Poof is just like bored. He's been alive for so long. He's bored.
Too old.
What can I do to make life more exciting?
I mean, I love Yarel, but like that's not the kind of person you want on your Jedi Council. Like, let him retire.
Yeah. Put him on that retirement ship. Get him a Margaritaville shirt and send him on his way. Joel Davis.
Let you read the next one, yeah.
Thank you for the birthday wishes. I appreciate it. Everybody in the chat has been sending lots of birthday wishes, so thank you guys. It is my fault that we're streaming so early because we have birthday plans to go to soon. But
I love that your birthday plan is to go win Star Wars trivia. It's great.
You keep telling people that my plan is to go play Star Wars trivia. My plan is to go win something.
I just said
birthday.
Win. I just said win. We're gonna go get stomped. Watch it be like the hardest trivia ever. But we had 3 Schmodown competitors. We would have had 4, but gold leader Evan Bushkar doesn't know how to write things down in his planner.
Put him on blast.
Yeah, get him. My reviews, thank you for the next one. What do you think happened to Cody? We kind of talked about this already, but I think he just went AWOL somewhere. I think he's still alive. I hope that at some point he goes and joins Rex and his crew. I think that sounds likely. They were friends during the Clone Wars. So that'll be my headcanon for now. Eventually he gets picked up. Maybe he meets up with the other clones on Pantora.
That's what I was going to say. Maybe he's on Pantora already working with the Chooch. Chipmunk of Vengeance with another super chat. Thank you. I was low-key hoping Hemlock survived. Legendary villains are rare. Get him out of here.
That was a good noise.
I want him gone forever.
I will agree that he was a legendary villain. I thought he was an excellent baddie for this series. I was like hooked on him ever since they introduced him in season 2. So seeing him get shot to bits was great. I also liked seeing him and Rampart, like the 2 main villains of the series, get to have some verbal jabs. That was fun. But yeah, he should be dead. David David James, thank you for the next one. Either Hunter approved Omega with the Rebellion as the first Death Star had just been KO'd and they were replacing dead pilots from Scarif and Yavin, or they were getting ready for the Death Star 2 attack. I don't think Hunter approved of her joining the Rebellion at all. He didn't want her to leave.
Yeah.
I'm sure he was proud that she wanted to go fight the Empire, but like he didn't seem like he approved the plan. She was sneaking away.
Well, I think I'm sure she had told everybody her ultimate plan, like that she was going to go join the rebellion someday. And I think he just needed one last goodbye. He wasn't trying to stop her.
No, I don't. I don't think he was trying to stop her. He was
Or
just getting
talk
his
her out of
goodbye
it.
in. Yeah, yeah. He just said, like, I like that he admitted, no, I'm not ready to see you go do this, but like, yeah, I'm not going to stop you.
Mm-hmm.
It like went all the way back to episode 2 when he was with Cut and Sue LeQuain, and they had to tell him like, you're never going to keep them out of danger. You're always going to be worried about them.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what being a parent is.
Right. Brad Scanlon, thanks for the super chat. Love you both so much. Thoughts on Emery's future?
Thanks, Brad.
Thanks, Brad. We kind of touched on this earlier. I like that she wanted to stay a part of the fight. It took her long enough to, officially do something about it and like do the right thing and help those kids. But now, I assume she goes with Echo to Pantora and continues to help the clones fight for their rights.
Yeah, I think that sounds likely. Just that she joins the larger group. I don't know what helping the clones looks like right now. It doesn't seem like whatever the Chooch.
Pippin's hungry.
Yeah, whatever the Chooch is attempting, it doesn't seem like it works very well. But they're still going to try. I don't think we've seen the last of her or Echo or any of them. Even if I don't think the next thing is immediately going to be another clone-centric story, we're never going to not get clone stories, I don't think. So it just depends on when.
Yeah.
Andrew 711, thanks to the next one. Why was the Zillow in that facility? Why keep the clones and not ship them off to a slave mine? How was Tarkin able to transfer funds to his project? Well, the clones they wanted to keep there to experiment on. So sending them away would have made no sense. The Zillow Beast, I assume they were going to do like material testing on it. Basically because its skin is like lightsaber and blaster resistant, which I thought was hilarious that they just kept shooting at it.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't,
Might
you
as
have
well.
no, yeah, you have no other options, so you might as well. But
Yeah.
I was like, guys, that does nothing.
I was going to say quickly, because you can hear Pippin meowing in the background. This is why we start our streams at 6, because we feed the animals at 5, and it's 5:27 now, so they're pissed. But we'll get to them.
How is Tarkin able to transfer funds? I think he just has that authority.
I mean, he himself didn't do it. He told somebody else to do it.
Yeah. On my authority, transfer the funds.
He's like, I don't know how to even do that. Just do it.
What's Venmo?
Yeah. There's a QR code somewhere that he uses. James Clancy, thank you so much for a very generous super chat. A lot of potential for spin-off material here. Man, these last few episodes have flung Omega up to top 3 Star Wars characters for me. Happy final Bad Batch stream. Even if I want a new show with a new cast, I don't think it's happening. Almost certainly a spin-off.
That would, first of all, thank you so much, James. That's insanely generous. Yeah, I don't know what the next thing is going to be. And I'm like, I still kind of think the most likely thing would be a hidden path thing, because then it can be adjacent to what's already going on. That again, that's not my first choice, but the Bad Batch never would have been my first choice for the next project either after the Clone Wars. So like what I want, I don't really think about it. I just wait until they announce it and I'll be like, okay, I'll have my reaction and I'll save my judgment for when it's actually on.
Yeah. It just proves that I can keep my faith in these storytellers for Star Wars. Because, yeah, I wasn't like, all right, a Bad Batch show. I remember them. Like, I was just like, who? What? but it was like, yeah, it's up there in some of my top favorite Star Wars stories. So
It's been great. Yeah, I love these characters. Nerdy Seb, thank you for another one. Omega probably named Echo Base when they found it. Okay, I like that.
ooh,
I like that a lot. That's been like a fan theory going around that maybe Echo Base is named after Echo instead of what some reference book said, which is just that it echoed inside. Like, no, that's silly. Either just name it Echo Base because of the phonetic or whatever alphabet that's called, or name it after the clone Echo. That would be rad.
I like that a lot. We talked about this exact thing earlier. Cameron Andrews, thank you. What happened to Cody is the new what happened to Barasafi. Yes. But I think someone said it earlier, but Dave has a plan to tell us what happened to Cody at some point, and we won't get
Start
it
the
for
clock.
years.
On May 4th, 2035, we're going to get Tales of the Clone Troopers, and we'll find out what happened to Cody. We'll get 3 shorts all about Cody from when he was like during training, and then with Kenobi, and then after the Clone Wars.
We'll be so old by then.
11 years. Andrew 711, thanks for another one. I forgot to ask, why was the containment procedure fire a big gun at it? Their only plan to contain the Zillow. Yeah, there's
They
still
had
like
a shield thing.
yeah, they had the shield, which we don't really know what that was. So I guess that was some kind of containment field. And the big gun is supposed to be something that from the Clone Wars, and we saw it in the Bad Batch season 2, but it basically stuns it. It just takes a lot, but eventually it'll work.
Yeah. Oh, that poor Zillow beast. It's just
I was
getting
afraid.
stunned all the time.
I guess I thought Omega was going to have to disable that thing, but I like that the Zilla Beast was just like, nope.
Yeah, I'm out of here. See ya. Another super chat from David. What I meant is he was there not fighting her on it and saying goodbye to her. Wait, and saying goodbye to her and was the one to smooth the others over on it.
Oh, okay.
Approved, as it were. Oh, okay, okay.
Oh, okay, gotcha. That Hunter, I get it, like might have had to talk Wrecker and Crosshair and letting Omega go, and maybe that's why she was like sneaking away from them.
Yeah,
I could.
They would
that.
never have let her go otherwise. I can see that.
Yeah, I wouldn't have minded seeing a tearful reunion or goodbye from all of them, but I get why it was just Hunter. Like he was the primary kind of father figure, especially at the start.
Yeah.
My reviews. Thank you for this super chat. Happy birthday, Molly. You're amazing. What an I made it show. Oh, what anim I can read. What animated show would you like to see? No Biggs, we know you worship him.
Well, that's.
Well, see, the thing is,
10.
I would not want, I don't think, a full animated show about Biggs. Pilots, yes, but just like something focused on Biggs. I know enough to know that probably doesn't hold that much water. Like there's only so much you can do.
Night Sisters, a show with Cal and Marin specifically would be really fun. I don't know. I'm sort of easy to please. So, like I said earlier, I have faith in the showrunners that did the Bad Batch because they made me care so much about the clones. So, I'll take whatever they got for me.
As much as I like the Young Jedi Adventures, I would love to see a High Republic show more on this level, on the Bad Batches level, where still accessible to kids, but also has more grown-up themes and lessons to explore.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It's like I'm always excited by something new and the unknown and all that. So I don't really have any druthers. Whatever they announce, I'll be like, okay, cool. I look forward to watching it.
Or a High Republic animated show would be fun. It's
That's what I
not.
just said.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
You
I'm
can agree with
starving.
me.
I'm like Pippin. I'm gonna start meowing pretty soon.
Okay. Well, we can wrap it up then. That could be the end of our last clone zone, or maybe the next show will be all about clones and we'll just keep it going.
Yeah.
but for now, we're saying goodbye to the clone zone. Not goodbye to after shows though, because we'll have the Acolyte starting in just over a month, which we're very excited for. But as we wrap up, we'll just say thank you to everyone who hung out with us today and throughout the entire season. Thanks so much for your questions and your super chats and the support to keep our channel and these shows going. I think that's all I have to say. Do you have anything else, Molly?
Yeah, like you said, we're gonna be back doing another after show for the Acolyte when that starts. But until then, we are gonna keep doing Lego streams. We're gonna bring those back.
Yeah.
Those are not gone forever.
By the way, I ordered the TIE Interceptor this morning.
Okay, great. Excited for that. So that's gonna start back up next week.
It should be here by then. So we'll probably start building the TIE Interceptor.
Sure. If not,
Yay.
we'll do a helmet or something.
David, thanks for one last super chat. Happy New Year, Molly. The Crew Shadow's birthday for you. And Rick Quintanilla, starting late and starting from the beginning, if already answered, no problem. Is Omega's ship the same as Ghost's runabout? Thoughts? If you're at the very beginning, you're going to find this in an hour and a half. But I'll leave a little present for you, Rick. I don't think it's the Phantom. It did look similar to it, but I don't think it was identical, and she definitely had her own stuff in it. But yeah, thanks everyone. Have a good night. May the Force be with you. We're gonna go eat dinner and win some trivia.
Yeah. Thank you guys for all the birthday wishes.
Bye.
Bye.